Yo, what's good? It's your host, Stu. Welcome to another episode of the Post on the Block podcast. We cover all things blockchain, metaverse, NFTs, all money making opportunities in the space. I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves one by one. How's everybody doing today?
Yo, what up? It's your boy Shades, you already know. Out of Florida. Dropping my 2 cents on this crypto. You ready?
Hey, it's your girl D, DeFi Tycoon. You already know, collecting that bread.
What's up, y'all? It's Professor J coming out of New York, trying to give y'all everything blockchain, crypto, whatever.
For sure. Word. I know we're going to just get into like centralized versus like decentralized marketplaces and everything. And just like just the concept behind it, just because a lot of people really don't know exactly like what those terms mean. It's just like, okay, that word sounds good, but like we're gonna like break it down and everything. And we'll first get into like the breakdown of like centralized marketplaces. Whether that's like a one of an NBA Top Shots or Royal.io. Just y'all's initial thoughts on like centralized marketplaces. Wow, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Uh, I own ownership, I say, when it comes to those. Usually because that's a term that goes between centralized and decentralized. Um, when it comes to the marketplaces. So it's just like when I say ownership, not saying like you don't own your NFTs on one place or from another place. It's more so when it's a there's less of a central figure in their community oriented when it's decentralized. The centralized ones, you're gonna have more of corporations and venture capitalists that are running that.
Yeah,
I agree. Same thing. With centralized exchanges. When I hear about that, I just think of it being just one entity having all the control of whatever said assets that's on that exchange. You're not having that control to do as you please. If something happens, they can possibly lock you out or just freeze your funds. So that's when I think about centralized exchanges. Not that those are not just the downsides, but things like that. I pretty much
think
think about.
about it being a intro to the crypto space, like more centralized stuff is like how to get your feet wet, you know what I mean? Because I feel like those is a little bit safer to play with right now. And then, you know what I mean, the decentralized shit, it would be, not that it's not safe, it's just, it operates differently, like only on crypto and shit like that. It's centralized, most centralized platforms, you could get shit with your credit card or USD, you know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
don't know. Shanice, I might have to disagree with you on that one about the centralized one being safer, only because of like compared to I don't know the decentralized marketplaces that I've dealt with. I've heard very little about them being their wallets getting drained or information being compromised, and I hear that more with OpenSea than anybody. And OpenSea is well, isn't well. Hold on, but wouldn't I don't know? Is OpenSea considered centralized? Because I always considered it centralized.
They,
I don't know. I lean towards like decentralized when it comes to that. Like for me, when I look at like centralized, it's just like they control everything on the central hub. That's actually like a project that you purchase and buy. Like that's how I view centralized. I feel
Uh,
like decentralized is more so to me. It's kind of like, all right, it is the hosting place, um kind of like the equivalent of like if you go to like a food court or something. Like the food court is like the central hub for all the restaurants to come or whatever, but it's not their job to get the customers. It's each individual spot in the food court for them to draw customers and order sandwiches and drinks or whatever. That's how I see it
I
or
would
whatever.
agree to an extent because if that's the case, then eBay and Amazon would be considered decentralized, and they're far from it.
I
So like,
mean,
because
yeah.
OpenSea, like right now, like it's just they are scary, and you're kind of forced to deal with them because that's where most projects and stuff are.
I
But
consider
like
OpenSea decentralized though, like that shit is not
they They not, because they lit recently. They've had a security breach, and I got the email too because some disgruntled employee or an
Yeah, I
employee
seen that.
sent out, pretty much sold everybody's email
So,
addresses.
yeah, so the info.
But decentralized exchanges, you're not gonna get that because there ain't no employee to sit there and sell our information to. If somebody would have to hack the system to do that.
Everything got employees. I don't believe that.
Then
These shits
I
ain't
mean,
just
Well,
a
I don't mean
computer
like,
running. Like, I don't believe
well,
that.
nah, but to the extent where OpenSea got offices and a whole payroll going on, like decentralized systems, they don't have as big as they gonna be more community run than having all those employees and stuff. But I do agree
Yeah,
with you.
when
Yeah,
it comes
right.
to
They
the
not gonna have
function,
that.
like
Yeah.
operating, like buying and selling and listing and things like that, but not when it comes to running the website and
Oh
running the
yeah.
actual company. They gotta have a slew of people back there.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, that shit really don't matter, but
well,
I still think it's people behind these
well,
shits.
Well, I think with like the centralized exchanges, I mean, to be totally honest, it's going to be hard to get the true decentralization because of which, like similar to what you said, someone having the control of passwords, and if something happened with them or whatever, or if they decide they want to do anything funny, so I think them having getting decentralization it just has to get better over time with things like that, especially with security, and so you can avoid issues like that where if, you don't have one person with too much control or control over precious information like a password. So but I think you have your centralized exchanges where like they're not they don't have that peer to peer factor. You want to go buy something, you like it's like you buying it from it's not really on the blockchain per se. It's on it's on that exchange. On an OpenSea, for instance, you can go and look at it on the blockchain, and see these purchases being bought and things like that. And then you don't have to worry about, again, on a decentralized exchange, you can just connect your wallet and you control the assets on that you play with. And if you want to boss and especially with the assets you want to use to purchase different NFTs with, on a centralized exchange, you have to sign up. There's you have to really kind of give up pretty much give up some privacy if you want to use most of these like top centralized exchanges,
What?
because
Wait,
OpenSea
time
and a
out,
lot of
time
people
out,
don't.
time out, time out. Give up privacy. You're talking about the
All right. No,
same people that use MetaMask and check your wallet to see what you got in your shit. And it's no privacy in crypto.
But I don't know who you are.
It doesn't
That's
matter.
but that's a form of privacy. I don't know who you are. That's the privacy I'm talking about. Now, knowing that an event and one individual has, X amount of NFTs or X amount of crypto,
That's
that
not
just
true
knowing
because that's
one
what
wallet,
that's exactly what people be doing, checking certain people's wallets.
if they
Like
know that's that person's wallet,
I would
yeah,
agree with you, but except for the fact that the homie goes
I guess.
and like if
Well,
you tell him, yo, I got this NFT, or show him your NFT, you don't have to tell him whatever. He gonna go look for your
yeah,
NFT.
but that you knowing him and you now y'all talking about wallets and stuff, that you already gave up your
Not even
privacy right
talking
there.
about wallets. If I just be like, yo, I got an ape and I posted it on Twitter. This dude goes to that ape, looks for that ape on the marketplace or whatever, and looks through that person's wallet.
But I'm not talking about privacy amongst individuals and amongst friends. I'm talking about
And look,
privacy
I'm
amongst.
saying on Twitter, like if you go on Twitter, this like he ain't. I don't have an ape, but I know that he sees people post stuff, and he don't necessarily got to know them. I know him, and I know he does this, but I know for a fact he don't. I mean, the people that he's checking their wallet don't know him. You
No,
know what
I'm
I mean?
saying, but
Like,
I mean, in a sense, that's only out of everybody in the crypto space that's investing in the crypto space. That's a small fraction of people that knowing, oh, what he has in that in particular wallet. That he's showing, whatever project or whatever NFT he has. But I'm saying when you're dealing with these exchanges, the exchanges don't know who you are. They know that that's your wallet, but they don't know you personally. They don't know that you're first name, last name, and all that stuff. And you can put a fake one on some of them, but like some centralized exchanges, you can't, especially if you have some form of cash out. They want your identification, where's your name, ID, address, all that stuff. You're not giving that much up, even when you show somebody what you have as an NFT. And so I mean that's just like the form of level of privacy I'm meaning. But some people like yours, they'll show you what they have on Twitter, then not some of them be docs where they show their face, some of them they not docs, they just have another profile picture of them showing you other NFTs in a wallet. So I mean I'm just really mean like the privacy amongst the masses, that when you're working with a centralized exchange, what they want you to give up compared to a decentralized exchange with what they want you to give up just to use their exchanges.
I don't think there's no privacy, period, in this shit. So that's just basically that's the whole point of being decentralized and all of that, right?
Like know who you are. Because I'm not worried. I don't think most people care about
I'm not
the people
talking
that they share
about
their NFTs with.
I'm not talking about OpenSea in particular or anybody in particular. I mean, like in crypto, period.
Any decentralized exchange, not individuals.
in the crypto space, like there's not really no such thing as privacy out here. That's the whole point of it. Like,
yeah, but you don't have to be someone telling people. Like you talking about you personally telling somebody what you have.
I'm just talking about somebody I ran into. I think if it's one of these niggas, it's 100 of these niggas.
I'm saying it's probably thousands, but it's millions.
Exactly, of like yeah. So
I'm saying, but there's millions of people in the space that's not telling everybody what they have. I'm talking about just privacy among.
Oh yeah, you don't gotta tell nobody nothing, but that don't mean the information ain't out there though.
If you don't tell somebody what you have, how do anybody know what you have?
They could just go look through transactions and end up seeing your transaction on the blockchain. Like I could go on Etherscan, for example. I could go on Etherscan right now. Just pick a random transaction. It don't matter if I know that person, but I know how much ETH they got in their wallet and what NFTs they got, bro. That's like a nigga having access to my bank, seeing my fucking, all right, my name is blanked out, but the nigga see how much money I got in my bank and shit and see, oh, I'm a business owner and I'm this and that. Like, I don't want, like me particularly, just personally, I don't like that little bit of, I'm a mind your business type of nigga. So this is different for me.
Who knows if that's you other than a centralized exchange? Like on any of these decentralized exchanges that we're talking about, how do they know that you could be using 20 wallets and use?
I'm not even talking about the exchanges knowing.
That's what we're talking about.
I'm talking about people knowing. I'm just talking about privacy, period.
No, I'm talking about privacy amongst exchanges. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about privacy, period, in the space.
There's a level of privacy unless you want to tell people what you have.
Again, like, you don't have to tell nobody what you have.
But how do they know that what you bought? How do you know what I bought? How do you know anything that I bought personally if I don't tell you?
You might have posted it somewhere. They put a picture up somewhere.
But what if I don't post it anywhere?
What if you do?
But I'm saying a lot of people don't.
They're like, stop doing that shit. What if? What if?
I'm just saying.
What if, nigga? What if? So let's fucking what if the night away, nigga? Like, no.
I'm saying, because you could go on a blockchain and see all transactions. There's no privacy. I'm saying that's
yes, because at any moment, at any time, a nigga could go see what you got in your wallet.
They don't. How do they know what your wallet is?
Privacy to me, bro.
But how do they know what your wallet is?
I don't give a fuck who it is. I'm just saying, like at any time, I could go see somebody got whatever in their wallet. That's not private. If I could find out whatever's whatever, like I don't think that's private.
I think that's a total level of privacy if you don't know who that person is. Just because you know that he put money in and you know that he bought something.
I don't need to know who he is to get this shit. Like
I'm saying, but that's private. I mean, I don't. If you don't know who the person is, that's not like a level of privacy. Like I can make
to a certain extent, but no, son. I just feel like the fact that niggas can even see that information is not private.
That's the beauty of the blockchain.
You see what I'm saying? But that was my point too. But that was kind of like the whole point of this shit. That the information that's there is there. That everybody could see whatever that takes place on the blockchain. Like.
That I'm saying we know what the transactions being done, but we don't know who these people are making the transactions. So I mean, that's where the level of privacy is at. Unless these people are coming out saying, "Oh, that's me right there that made that transaction." Now you can go see.
Or unless you're saying, unless you're not saying it's not you, like.
I see like both sides or whatever. Like as far as like the transactions, but that was also like part of the blockchain as far as making things transparent and. Like kind of like when I see the transactions, like it's like a sense of like like a voting poll or something like that. It's just kind of like, what if we saw the election results in real time or whatever, and not just because that was like a lot of people saying, oh, the election was like rigged or this or that. And the blockchain is kind of like transparent, or like to the point of, if you do a smart contract or whatever and draw up a contract, well, everything is written out in the smart contract for everybody to see. Or like through a DAO, like you can make a signature. Somebody just can't do something funny with the money, like just off strength. Like now it has to be like seen, it has to be signed or signed off or whatever. I think it's like the level of transparency. I also do see that, like, yo, your shit is out there, whatever. But then all that also comes into like, you have to like have your stuff and ability to just protect yourself in a sense. So like adding like that extra layer of security, if you do feel like that personally or whatever. So I feel like I can see like both sides. Z, like, you got any thoughts on this?
Nah, I'm there with you.
Now, I mean, that your example you used was perfect because, like, look at the voting example as far as somebody like if we put the voting system on the blockchain and people just had to confirm, like they had to create a wallet and confirm that in that wallet that they were like, that they was a real person or something, whatever, and they're trying to come out with that. So, if they did something like that, where it's just you put the voting system on the blockchain and people were able to just come and vote whatever they wanted to do without them having like any form of ID, just but a form just showing that they human and they just registered to vote or whatever. Like that's a form. You can have a form of privacy that way because you won't know who
Nah, they're gonna have
exactly
to
the
know
person is
because a
that
nigga
voted.
could vote more than
But
once if that was the case. If he just gotta do it like that, you're gonna have
So
to
that
know who
I'm
that
saying you have
person
a
is at
system.
some
They're
level.
creating systems where they have it. I mean, if it's going to be trusted or not, that's the thing. But they have
it,
systems where you can validate. I mean, verify that you're a person, but and that's it. Like that you're a real person. That you and you know like with your ID and everything like that on and or whatever on a blockchain. And if they're gonna we implement that, that could be something that could work where you can't do something like twice, like a vote or like
But then
where
somebody
like
knows who you are once you put your verification, your ID in, right? Then there's no longer privacy. Somebody somewhere gonna know that you put your shit in so that you can vote.
mm,
I, I mean, they could. I mean, that in most systems, that's you could have it that way, but you could have it where just. I mean,
Not nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that that's what's gonna happen. Like I just like I don't know. I don't want to
I'm saying
keep
if
going
you have
back
the
to
vote
it. It's
stamp
just
on the
I don't see
blockchain,
no
if you
privacy
have
in
the
this shit.
vote stamp on the blockchain, you can have it where parties are
it's
looking
not
at it
private.
and
The
see.
word, I think the right word to use is probably trustless, not private. Because it's like the word trustless is mainly what I see people go around with when it comes to blockchain stuff. Trustless, so you don't have to sit there and sign contracts. You don't have to verify your identity and do all this login stuff that we always do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just trustless. We don't know who we're trusting or anything. We don't know who anybody is. Yeah, it's not private, which is the one thing about the blockchain which people really do like, because if you're doing business or these businesses actually end up on the blockchain, we could actually track their balance sheets now. So I wouldn't say private, but I would say more so trustless would probably be a better word.
Okay, trust
Well,
this.
if they can trust that system, you can have it where like you don't like a certain party doesn't have to know who voted or whatever. They just got to count how many votes or whatever the case is. Just to just get that information. It don't have to be
Exactly, it's
where
trustless.
yeah, you don't have to know. It don't have to be where people um they have to know who it is exactly.
I think
I
that's.
mean, you could have systems set up where you could do that. You have one party where they just doing the
I'm sure
voting
they
system,
could.
and then you have another part of them where they verifying, just verifying, and then or just one just checking to see if votes went through. But once the votes are done on a blockchain, like you can't change that or alter that. Especially with how it's set up with timestamps or whatever. But in
Yeah.
a regular case, you go buy something, the exchange, which is I think which is an important part in the community. Again, if you telling people when because you got people that don't know nobody in crypto or whatever, and so who are they telling that even if they own this, like or who are they probably talking to in general? So you have people buying stuff, and they not telling people stuff, so they're private in the world. Like nobody knows what they own, or what they have, or what they've been doing if they've been using mainly decentralized exchanges. But if you telling people, of course they gonna know and be able to track that. But I
I
mean,
don't I don't know, but it's a lot of different things or whatever variables when it come to this. I just know for me, like back to our like original point as far as like decentralized versus centralized, I personally lean towards centralized just because like just for some centralized marketplaces
Mm.
that we all know about, I don't really know for sure. Like I had to take what they say at like face value in terms of like, okay, for example, like one of there's no tracker meter on like a 24-hour, 7-day, 30-day all time percentage. So I truly do not know what is the all time like most bought up NFT or like project on the platform. I truly don't know or whatever. And it's just like for me, I don't like that because I don't have no ability to track. Like I don't know what's gonna be the top project. So like if you're banking on like a one up for instance overall in the space in terms of like they're gonna be prominent in the next 5 years, I don't even know what the prominent NFT because that's what I would go after. Like I like stuff like Object
Mm.
or like a OpenSea or a JPEG store. I like those exchanges because I have percentages to go by and it has all time, so I know what type
Yeah,
of
they way
projects to
more
go for.
detailed. They
Yeah,
way more detailed.
it's way more detailed. There's way more variables to play with. I feel like on centralized marketplaces, I have limited information, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. Cause like especially somebody that's like, I like to buy and hold depending on what I'm holding. But honestly, I'm trying to trade. I'm trying to take my money. I'm trying to take $50 and push it to $150. That's what I'm trying to do as a
Mm-hmm.
trader. And I feel like do not have the access to information or enough variables to go off of.
To make
I
that
feel like
play
I'd be
on one of.
guessing on there. It's not as calculated for me personally.
But no, that shit is. My shit is that I think it's like situational because certain times I like, I guess it's like certain drops I like on like centralized, I guess you would say, because one of like DraftKings stuff like that. But then I like the JPEG store and Object too. Like I don't know, bro. I have OpenSea shit that I minted on Ethereum, so I can't say that I never use that, but like I know it'd be certain times, like it's not like every drop I want to do one, or I'm like hell bent on only doing centralized or only, you know what I mean? Like I'm kind of evenly spread in that aspect. I think I definitely have a certain level of comfortability on a centralized. I guess you know why? Because a centralized feel more like what the norm is, right? I go to the
Mm.
store, or I'm using Amazon, or I'm using like that's kind of how it feels to buy shit on one of.
And
Yeah,
it's because you can hold them accountable too. You got somebody to hold accountable when you
Uh-huh.
want to centralize stuff. So if something go wrong, I know who to sue. Like,
true.
or I
Yeah.
know who get
They
my
don't
money
be
back.
giving a fuck, but but yo, you right though. I could say, yo, yeah, I did something. I do have somebody to complain to, but it's not like they care.
But I was go
But
ahead,
one
Z.
of them, but the ones I've like Royal, when I mess with Royal definitely does care because they have their partnerships with all these other major labels and stuff like that, and they coming up too. So I don't know. Most of those centralized ones that I work with, I see right there. If they act like they don't care, it makes me that's a red flag to not fuck with them. I don't. That's just something I don't like about certain communities, and I've dealt with communities where they managers or their team is just like give zero fucks if somebody loses money or
Hold on,
something
let
on
me
their
not quote that.
wrong.
Don't quote me on that. Like I'm not saying that's how I personally feel because
Uh,
I don't know what I mean. Like I feel like I can say what I want. They're gonna say what they gotta say. That's fucking politically correct to soothe over the situation, and then whatever
mm,
happens after that happens. Like I don't really.
I
I
get,
haven't seen them go back to fix some shit. I've seen them keep moving forward.
yeah, but I don't know. I'm with you mainly because like I like um. It's not. I don't even think I gravitate mostly to centralized marketplaces. It's mostly they have the stuff I like. So it's just I'm there and I just like the stuff that's there.
Mm.
OpenSea, the only reason I mess with OpenSea is just because the projects I have end up connecting to OpenSea. So my stuff is all my NFTs are on and if OpenSea anyway.
Mm.
So but
Man.
if I had a choice I wouldn't, to be honest. I'd
Now,
stay
yeah,
far away.
yeah. I mean, I don't got no, I don't think I have no specific preference. Like Shay said, it's very situational. And then like Ghost said, it's a lot of stuff you might like. I think most people like or familiar with on centralized exchanges. And like mentioned, you can hold them accountable in case something really, something crazy happens, and it's a lot easier. I mean, once you're already used to it, it's easy to use. You just connect your debit card and stuff like that with most of them. Um, it's tough because like I've been on multiple decentralized platforms on different blockchains, and I probably, especially lately, spend more time over there. Um, and I think for most reasons, like, and I think a lot of people would agree, the returns are a lot better on these decentralized platforms. We see these projects that are going up, crazy numbers. Some selling for over $1 million. You don't see that too often on these centralized platforms unless they're doing some type of like cross decentralized, like hybrid decentralized, centralized type thing. Like a Nifty's,
Wow,
.com.
Whitney went for a mill, man. One up, man. Stop playing.
I mean, like for me though,
My
Nah,
it's
bad. Like y'all.
nah.
When I said Nifty selling on one
They
up, I
got
was like,
one
show
though.
me.
They got
Y'all don't
one.
believe it, but I mean, yeah. I mean, nah. But you got some. But it's like, I mean, the volume and the volume is just a lot more crazier than these centralized platforms. Um,
I don't know
and then
who
again,
has
we can't see what they're doing, to be exact. But even though, but even just by the community, we could tell, like well, most of us could tell that they're probably not doing the numbers that a lot of these decentralized platforms are doing with these other NFTs. And it's easy to understand why, because you have a lot more projects coming out that's decentralized, that's coming out on these decentralized platforms. Um, but you have the ones that do well, like they're blowing out a lot of the stuff that's coming out on the centralized platforms. Now, I think it will get balanced out, and maybe centralized stuff might overtake. I don't know, because it's just the space is so new. But I kind of put my, try to play in both, because the money is there for both. I just recently got put on things, goat, and the rest of y'all with Royal. I like how their setup is and their tokenomics is on their platform, and how they sell their NFTs. It's very niche within music. But you have some others that are trying to do a lot, and so it kind of can be a turnoff, with how they're working. But I mean, again, I do both. It's a lot of pros and cons to both. Um, but I think I try to go where the money's at.
I
With a
mean,
high, with a
like
high,
for me, it's like I do both as well. But I'm saying if you asked if I had to choose one, I would go with the centralized because that's just where the most gains. That's where the money at. Personally, now like the level in which I can hold somebody accountable might be a lot less, but that's just the risk I'm willing to take for the percentage of the gains that I could possibly make on there. Like for me personally, and then it's like the only way I really like centralized marketplaces if they're super niche specific. Like they do one thing, then like me, I can identify. Like I like Royal because it's just one way on how they releasing their NFT or whatever, and it's super niche specific on how they're doing it as far as like percentages and like if you buy this song, then you're gonna earn streaming a percentage, right, or whatever, and then you can have a 3 month chart out and see how much you can make potentially. Like I like that, or like an NBA Top Shot to where they're releasing X amount of cards and like packs and like NBA, but they're not doing basketball and then they doing hair and makeup and just all this other stuff. It's just like they really niche down. They doing like one thing just because like my problem with the centralized marketplaces is if they try to do a whole bunch of projects, then they don't extend the lifeblood of the projects they already have. And then like it's like if you're a holder, like what's the incentive to keep the project if the project doesn't have any future plans or roadmaps and like as far as in the sense of like just a project is dormant. Well then what's the upside to keeping the project? Like you're not making no gains, like your NFT is not increasing in value unless you're just purely banking on the marketplace in itself to just I don't even know. It's in the sense like increase so much in a time span and value to where like all NFTs will like rise or whatever, unless you're banking on that specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like the projects are being left dormant. I feel like if it was just up to like the individual projects to promote like their own project and they're responsible for that, then I feel like I'd be a lot more comfortable just because those projects, the lifeblood of them will extend and I would have a reason to hold them.
I think that's what I think that's the I guess going into others, I guess another segment about, you know, I guess maybe the misconceptions and or pros and cons of different exchanges. Like I think these centralized exchanges, and this is just my opinion from when NFTs, you know, a lot of NFTs, some NFTs come out, some come out. I think where it's just like it was originally I guess maybe for the art or whatever, or some projects come out they thinking people are going to buy them for the art and they're not going to buy them to flip and try to make money. And some of these exchanges, I think that's what the impression they come out they put off. Like one exchange that I'm frequent on is Vive that y'all familiar with. Um, they uh they come out with a lot of I think probably the most popular characters in the world, or whatever, like Marvel, DC, a lot of different stuff that people are familiar with, and um they just they just come out with these items and they don't really talk much about them after. They just come out with drops every other day and don't talk much about them, and people would just continually buy them up. And if you go in there complaining about making money and flipping and all that, people are going to attack you and try to say, oh, this is a collector's app. And they'll refer you back to statements and AMAs when the founders was like, oh, this is a collector's app, we didn't intend for this to be people to be flipping and making money like that, or blah 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 blah. And I mean, part of that I think is BS. But then again, I mean, I think that's probably what a lot of these exchanges are coming out with. A lot of these drops doing. They're trying to put off the impression that these are collectibles, or these are stuff that these little keepsakes. Don't expect utility out of them. Just be buy this because it has nice art, or
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to have, or because this is a person that you like or whatever. Just like you would buy a poster or a baseball card or basketball card. Um, so I think that's the stigma we put on a lot of these centralized exchanges. As they keep coming out with different projects over and over again, and not and we don't see that they don't have like that separate Discord for each project like a centralized exchange would, which is not what they're doing, but that's just the projects itself doing that. So I think that's a major difference, with these projects.
Yeah, I think a lot of those exchanges, what y'all describing, it's like cash grabs, pretty much. It's cash grabs for them to raise money. But the thing is, like Stu said, a lot of projects get left on the back burner, and or they just get forgotten about, or they completely put marketing in the hands of the community, and which isn't fair to the community because they buying it. And just because I'm buying something don't mean I'm gonna post about it. Speaking on our privacy and stuff, what we talked about earlier, I don't post every NFT in my wallet for a specific reason too. Like, you don't want people tracking you, and not everybody's gonna do that. So I don't even think that's fair of them to do that. But they do put out a lot of cash grabs, which is also, you gotta be, that's when you gotta tighten up your strategy, because if you picking a NFT that doesn't have any, very little or no utility whatsoever to help gain more money or some passive income or get you some type of in real life perk or something like that, it has zero utility. So therefore the value of that may not last. The value of it is dependent on the demand of the market. So if that's how you're gonna do it, you gotta tighten your strategy to either make sure you buy more than one and sell it so you can get your money back,
Facts.
no matter what the price is, or you just make
Flip
sure you
that
focus
shit.
on focus focus solely on you NFTs that give you some type of utility. So is this that's why you gotta pick and choose. Don't just go and buy every NFT you see, because
Right.
not all these are good.
Definitely should be using strategy when you go to buy any NFT. So that should help you make that decision. But for sure.
I
And
mean,
I think that's what people, I mean, yeah, you know what you're buying it for, and I think that's people. They have a lot of people have that mentality of just buying shit just to collect it. Depending on what they buying. I don't see people buying and collecting a lot of shit on decentralized exchanges because it's like, what are you collecting? That's somebody just made that shit up just now. But
Yeah, but that's
it's
what they doing because that's the strategy, yeah. Hodl. Hodl.
I mean, well, I see that
Hodl.
being different than somebody buying. No. I'm saying I see a difference of that than somebody buying shit on Vive. Like, you buy uh, a Batman or whatever NFT on Vive, you buying that, because you probably was collecting comic books a long time ago, and you probably never sold those shits, since you got them, and you just really like want to collect them, and this is your first NFT of some new technology, and you just probably holding that. I
I
mean,
don't know.
that's a
Maybe
difference
I'm
between
different. Am I really that different, yo? But I don't be like if it ain't gonna be like a real boy ape type of dub. Like I'm ready to take whatever money I could get from that shit right now. Like I be trying to flip the shit out of everything. I ain't get into nothing thinking I'ma hold this shit for 5 years. I ain't even gonna capture it.
Nah, yeah, some people are different.
But I
Some
do.
people have a 5 year or a way longer time
Yeah,
frame with
nah,
their
I
investment.
respect that.
James, I'm
Like
gonna give
on
you
an
an example.
investment, like if you buying crypto and you trying to stack your bags for that, know what I mean? Like I get that, but like for a PFP with like you saying, like we talking about some shit with no roadmap or nothing, your plan is to hodl? Like to me, that's crazy. Like yo, this shit, like I'm here while this
When I buy
joint
my
hot.
VJ joints, that's exactly my plan. Like, I mean, I don't.
Try
I
saying
mean,
it just like that,
my
so you
comic books.
hold
Nah, that's a fact.
it.
That's a fact. I mean, my comic books. Like, I
Yo.
mean, I know I ain't gonna get to them no time soon, but I'm gonna read them. I mean, I've read
Nah,
some of
see,
them,
but that's a
but
whole
I'm gonna
different
read.
approach. I feel what you saying. Like, if you a collector, like I got bins over here of baseball cards, basketball cards, and shit. Like, I ain't never sell. I don't look up the price. I just got them. But I learned from that also. Like, I don't want to never been to these shits. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have made money off of some of them shits had I sold them when it was hot.
Mm.
But I
I
mean,
mean,
but
that's part of
you ain't never hear people saying like, "Yo, I'm gonna hold this. This shit might be getting my kids," or
Yeah.
So that's what when you say I'm getting my kids or my grandkids,
Like
you
I
talking
got
about
baseball
making it
cards
to
from
them,
that's what
89,
you do in
90,
metaverse land.
full.
huh?
I got
That's what you do with your metaverse land. Well, technically, those are NFTs.
Mm.
Your land,
Yeah,
really.
that's in an NFT.
Yeah.
That you believe in that long
Yeah,
So
term.
those
nah.
I plan on holding for life. I'm planning on holding my
Nah,
metaverse land for.
land is different because land the way they talk about the land being able to get built on and having passive. I know your thing is passive income, so I know that that makes sense though. But like I'm saying, I want to make sure that I don't think I'm talking about any NFT. I'm talking about like we were saying those
The profile pic.
PFPs with no roadmap and nothing.
Yeah,
Like if
I
it's
feel that.
that like I don't
Yeah,
know. I just see the best opportunity for those is to flip them, get your money, because you don't know the lifespan on these joints. You know what I mean?
I
So if
just
y'all ever see me with an NFT that has no utility, just know that I really, really like that picture.
Oh, you like the
That's the only
artwork on the
reason I
shit?
bought that.
See, but if that's what you said, I respect that. Like, yo, I don't be mad at people for buying shit. I just be
Like
like,
I'm saying, I don't usually do that. I don't buy NFTs
oh,
that have
okay.
real utility. But if y'all ever see me do that, it's because I really,
It was
really
like,
love
oh,
that
yo,
shit.
that shit
Nah,
hard
it's
right
the same
there. I
thing as them
gotta
one up
have
joints.
that.
The
Like,
one up joints that came out that had like a lot of that really art factor to it. Like those is dope. Like I'm hope I can find like a digital frame and like I'll throw that around somewhere in the crib or whatever. And like with no impression on camera what the price is and
Like
or
I don't
whatever.
know, it would have to be from an artist that's well known. It like a Picasso or something. Like it has to be not a
well,
Picasso person, but
Yeah,
like
I
an
done have
artist
plenty
that
of
I
shit in my
follow.
house from
in
people I don't
itself
know
though,
from
that
Dollar
creates
General.
like utility in itself. Like if it's a famous person that painted the picture or put the paint
Yeah.
to the paintbrush, that's utility in itself. Like, and not for nothing, like I feel you like on the art. Like if I really just like the image and like the aesthetic, I would still try to create my own level of utility where like I would get a physical, I would print that out and put it like post on my wall or try to give it to some art gallery or something like that, or try to finesse it in the physical world somehow.
You're
Like I
right.
would
Yeah.
still try to,
I was just saying that the other day with
yeah.
the them goats. This dude from the goats community NFTs, which I think those are just profile pics. He took his goat and put it on his IPA brand. So it's his new IPA logo and everybody in the community buying up. So he created his own utility from it.
That's what
So
that's what
yeah.
I'm
see,
saying.
but
Like I'm
that's when
trying
you
to be,
get those rights, those IP rights is is big.
Well,
That's
I guess that is
utility though.
utility then too. Yeah,
If
Yeah,
you
I
that's
guess
give it
I get
another
that
utility.
too.
I
reason
mean,
for people to hold so long term, you got shit like that, and that's come with a lot of PFPs.
I mean,
No, a lot of these joints don't be coming with it. That's why That's why I'll be surprised because it's so many. You would think if I just got a PFP, I'll just give people rights. Like, who cares? Like,
No, I'm saying you
you
don't,
know.
but I'm saying that's another reason for people that be wanting to say they're gonna hold something for X amount of time or forever because they feel like they can, maybe create a business out of it or whatever the case is, with the
Mm-hmm.
item or whatever. But I mean, I think yeah, like you said, it's very situational with either the marketplace or the NFT in general. I mean, I do see it do seem bugged with people going into certain stuff. It's like, yo, what the hell? Because I wouldn't do it, but it's like, you know what? I don't know what the reason is they going to do
Word.
it for.
I mean,
So,
like for me, I'm
Yeah, you
just
could
saying,
be
like,
rich already. You're not trying to make no money. You don't care. You
yeah, they
just
just
buy what
collect.
you
They
want.
just
You
more
know what I
from a,
mean? Like,
they just more from a collector like standpoint in terms of just like I just like collecting NFTs, or just like y'all
right.
said, or it's just like a thing where it's a numbers game. If I buy like 200 NFTs, one of them bound to pop. I 200, like a
Yo,
minimum.
Right?
chill,
Which I
man. This is
paid.
not
Bro,
That's
financial
gambling though. That's
advice.
gambling. We don't gamble.
This is
nah, bro,
not
I'm just saying,
financial
like that might be
advice.
some people's strategy. If I just buy so many of them, one
Yeah,
of these
just I'm
joints
gonna
just ain't a
just buy NFTs until one hit. Yeah, all right,
yeah.
bro. That's the
Like one of
plan.
them.
but I
They
mean,
say
the crazy
eeny,
part
meeny,
is like,
miny,
if
moe,
you
yo.
did that now, if you did that I think, now you got to ask your question, be on the topic. Like, if you did that I think if you did that on the centralized section part, it would be a lot more risky if you did that on a centralized platform. Um, I mean, regardless of the market, I think
How so?
depend on but depend on what you buying and what marketplace you buying on. I think, but because I mean, because you see the variety of stuff that come out on decentralized platforms,
Yeah,
like it means so much. So it's like, I mean, you
home
go
of
say
the
you just pick the
apes.
same numbers. I went for 200 products on the decentralized platform, random joints, and I went for 200 random joints on a centralized platform. I think it's be a lot more riskier, but then again, it might be a lot more rewards too. So I mean, that's where you got to. I think people got to look at it like
I
that
think it
because I mean,
depend on the. I think it all depend on the 200 that you pick on each side. See,
that's what
like,
I said. That's why I said random in there. That's why I put random
ooh,
in there.
random. Ooh,
I
And then it
mean,
also
ooh.
depends on what centralized exchanges that you also
Hey,
use.
hey, hey! Somebody make sure you write that down, right? Because when we blow up, we doing that shit. We doing
yeah.
that shit. We gonna do it. We gonna test this theory, man. What would be better, yo? So put to be continued on this episode, because when we get to the real bag in this crypto space, we gonna.
Now, I mean, that would be interesting too. I mean, just think about it. I mean, like we think about a lot of like the last few drops that dropped on certain platforms. I mean, if you just I mean, you go to Vive. I mean, unless you got a ultra rare, secret rare, you're down. Depending on the drop. But then you got one of damn. I think like unless you got a platinum, depending on based off what I've seen,
hmm
you probably down with at least the recent ones I've seen. I
Yeah,
might
I
be
think
wrong.
platinum is the
Um,
key over there.
Royal, everything is 2x better. Plus royalties down the road.
I like
Um,
Riddle the best, but yeah, go ahead.
NBA Top Shots is pretty dope. I mean, when you get those packs,
Forgot about
usually
them.
like usually you get shit that add up to what that pack costs. Like if you decide to sell everything in that pack, I mean, at least for me so far. So I think that's
Yeah,
always
because I
been
spent
solid.
$10 on packs and I end up selling the cards for like three, four
Yeah,
dollars
like you
each.
definitely. I'm mad. I mean, that I ain't never bought one, but they had the legendary NBA joint. I mean, the finals joint, and
Mm-hmm.
that was they was $1,000. But the floor on everything, I mean, was like 6 and better, and you get 3 out of there. So I was like, damn, like and you could have got anything. You could have
That's
got
the Top Shot.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, NBA Top Shots, yeah.
I
I,
know I got a Top Shot account too. I think I only got one pack though.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
yeah,
wackest shit happened to me with the Top Shot shit is I had signed into that joint with my Google what's that shit authenticator,
yeah.
and I had got a new phone and lost the
Oh,
code, bro.
mm,
And And then they was like, oh, I emailed them and they was like, yo, if you want your account back, you gotta sign all, you gotta do all of this extra shit. So
See, there y'all go. You know, that's one of the cons to centralized platforms.
Centralize,
You
yeah.
know,
I'm
because
like, yo, but y'all know my email because y'all keep sending me
see,
emails about drops. Like,
you know, yep. You know, decentralized, you just be like, all right, whatever, forget this wallet, I'll use another wallet. But
Yeah.
I mean, but it's you don't want to have that too also because of certain things. You know, you want to try to keep it fair with certain drops. You know, the decentralized platforms, they try to keep it fair with allowing like one per wallet, but you can have 10 wallets. So you know, it you know, so all this is new, I think. So I think it's a lot, you know, they're still gonna got time to
I think
maybe fix this.
I think the only way I will hold, going back to Shay's, like just holding, and even Z talking about land. The other only other reason I will hold is just if I hold like a premier project on that blockchain. Like for me, like if I hold, because I have like quote unquote essential, like what you call them, blue chips, which is basically, I don't know exactly how you define it, but it's just like a community based like agreement as far as like these are the top projects on this platform, and they have the most like market cap volume just
Hmm.
all time. So
I agree
that's
with that.
kinda like I compare it to like NBA franchises, like the New York Knicks or the LA Clippers or the Lakers or the Bulls or whatever. Those are like major big city marketplaces, so they could be able to afford to go in the luxury taps. And then you got a small market franchise like a Charlotte Hornets or the New Orleans Pelicans. They might not be able to afford like the luxury tax or whatever. As far as like, I forget the owner like for the LA Clippers, Steve Ballmer, but he has money, so like he's able to pay whatever is required, even if he has to go over the luxury tax, and like he'll be able to sustain himself like through like season to season. That's how I look at blue chips as far as on the premier platforms and like holding them, because like that's my strategy, is like specifically like whatever blockchain, like when the whales come or the big money comes, they're automatically going to be looking, in my opinion, I feel like they're going to be looking for like, okay, what's the best ape project on here, what's like the first project, like the OG project, or like X, Y, and Z, like sentimental type things. They're going to be looking for that. And if you're in a position where you have that already, especially when the big money comes over, is like you can make a killing or whatever. But there's so many hypotheticals to that, because it's just like what's big money versus small money. But just my opinion. Like I just feel like having blue chips and waiting and
nah,
for
but I think
like,
that's a whole, that's a strategy. That's not just some random buy or like, you know what I mean? Throwing noodles at the wall hoping they stick. Like, that's a smart buy because you already know the history of whatever you know what I mean, purchasing. So of course you're gonna hold on to that,
Nah, yeah,
or just
that's
treat it
definitely.
differently. Not necessarily hold on to it, because like me, like I might say I'm gonna hold something, but I gotta let go price for everything.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Always
facts,
have your target price. Yeah.
facts, I
Yeah,
gotta let go price too.
I gotta let go price.
All
Yeah,
my shit for sale, even though I don't really want to sell it.
Right.
yeah.
All my shit for sale.
I just feel like if you come into this space to make money, you cannot be attached to like no single project. Like if you come into this space to make money,
Mm.
now you come because you like enjoy like the culture, or like you just fuck with NFTs as a new technology. You just want to be, I guess, like just with the people, so to speak, then yeah, go ahead and collect up. But if you come to collect money, then like I just feel like you gotta make peace for like eventually all these projects gonna be gone.
Don't
Period.
get married to your project, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nah.
Treat them like
Yeah,
they hoes.
I mean out here falling in love. All right,
nah,
yeah.
yeah, that's definitely good. I mean, for sure, it's like good strategies with investing with any project or crypto or whatever. But as far as exchanges, you know, you don't have to get married to any exchange, but there is. I mean, if the exchange is there and there's people there, you mean we go in a community and people talking and they arguing over, you know, certain stuff or whatever. It's money there. So I mean, I sometimes I tell myself like, damn, I can just be sitting here really dominating Vive if I just sit here and watch the market and get in and out. or
Yeah, they
any.
got all type of apps for that joint that I was seeing.
Nah,
So,
yeah, you got tools for everything. If not, you could, maybe think about making one for one if you ain't see one yet. But and I see it on one of, I'm in the chat with people that talks about making trades all the time and making money off one of. So it's different platforms. There's money on it. So if you wanted to say, all right, I'm gonna just stick to this platform and just don't put all your eggs in one basket with one project, of course, but play with different platforms, trade in and out. Is there's definitely money there. Decentralized or decentralized or centralized. It just you really got to get a good grasp of it and understanding of it. Make sure that make sure they have cash out. See what that process is like. If you go decentralized route. So you want to make sure all that. Make sure the team is they working with the community, they engaging with the community. It is not making a bunch of promises and stuff like that. But I mean, if you still can make money and don't care about that, then just keep going forward. But there's money on either one of these platforms, especially in decentralized manner. Just definitely just be a little bit more careful because there's these decentralized platforms are not vetting most of it, if not any of these projects. So you got to really watch out and do a lot of more homework, I think, in the decentralized part of the space than when it comes to the centralized part of the space.
So what's the verdict? Centralized or decentralized? Right?
I'm going decentralized. I'm going where the money at.
I can't pick one specifically, man. I just say, just
Depends on the project.
I think that's the best answer right there.
One like
gotta take. Y'all gotta look at next to y'all. Y'all gotta take a shot for picking both sides, man.
No, I'm gonna go with that one. I'm gonna go with what she said. What Go said depends on the project. That's for me.
Nah, I agree though. I can't lie. I agree. It depends on the project because I'm willing to go outside of a centralized experience just to get I understand like you were saying like the centralized. That's where the bag at. You know what I mean? So far in the space, the bag isn't decentralized. That's where the big boys play at.
Yeah.
And the big girls. You know what I mean? So I think I'm gonna go decentralized with a little sprinkling of centralized on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I can't pick both because I have most assets in centralized platforms, but I spend most of my times dealing with decentralized platforms. So, I mean, I'm hoping to maybe make that flip. I mean, if not, then I mean, it could be good still, but that means centralized is probably just still flying up or whatever. But at least the assets I have over there. But yeah, I can't pick. I definitely can't pick one. I just really what project it is. When I talk to a lot of my other people and other groups, I call them degens. Like they think like, yo, damn, yo, you over here and over there, and all these different platforms and stuff. And I'm like, yo, just you want to go where the money's at.
You gotta be out here looking around.
That's a fact. And and get in groups with people that can help share. Because I wouldn't be looking at shit on Cardano if it wasn't for Stu, putting shit out there, or on Tezos if it wasn't for y'all that fuck with Tezos, and certain games and Royal IO. So like definitely y'all want to get in the groups that can help you tap into a lot of these other different platforms and blockchains.
Yeah, surround yourself with people that's gonna make you better or make you, like strengthen your skills. Still sharpen steel, keep that in mind. But if I had to choose, if y'all gonna force me to choose, I'm gonna choose decentralized. Mainly, most of my projects are on, like my NFTs are from decentralized platforms. Like my only centralized work is from NFTs is from one of, and I think it's just like the Breakfast Club stuff I have, and some. I think I might still have some of Gerald's, and and Royal, and compared to my portfolio on decentralized, it clearly looks like I like decentralized one. So,
So if y'all making me choose, fuck it, I'm gonna choose centralized for the people because right now I don't trust nobody in the centralized space in this market. So go centralized and Save your bread, hold your bread down. It's more safer, I think. I mean, I'm gonna just go with that if I gotta choose.
It's the
Fuck it.
safer play right now. You gotta go
Safer
Centralize.
play,
Oh
yeah.
man, you can't be with that, man. Yeah.
Go buy a comic book. If the worst happened, you down $2, $3, $4.
You like to buy a comic book?
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
That's a Vive joke.
That's a
Like, nah,
V.
that ain't gonna happen.
Word, son.
You got something to read.
The six. A word. That's
Like
utility, man. That's
you gonna buy
utility.
that other bullshit. You just gonna be watching the market and hoping motherfuckers buy it and watching Jim and hoping people sweep the floor and shit
Yeah.
like that. Like at least you got something to read. If you go play with Vive, you can put it in AR and
You be
go
selling
play.
selling
It's like
gems
that.
aftermarket, man.
Nah, word, but that's my pick, I guess. Fuck it.
Yeah, I feel like everybody has a verdict. I feel like for the most part we definitely dive deep into this subject and everything. As far as like breaking down the process of like centralization, decentralization. Did anybody have any last like thoughts or whatever they want to give on the topic?
I'm good, bro.
All right. Yeah, for sure. But definitely come fuck with us on the Discord. Follow us all on Twitter. Just keep up to date with what we got going on, post on the block. Like I said, even like Z said, it's a good community just because you can come in and bounce ideas and like pick projects and then you can get feedback on those things. So definitely come fuck with us on the Discord. But close this out. We are the Poster on the Block podcast. We cover all things blockchain, metaverse, NFTs, all money making opportunities in the space. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
It's not financial advice.
Later, y'all.